have the capitulation or the recalling of the previous part of the black aeroplane, second part of chapter 3 that we discussed yesterday? Yes, quickly raise your hands. Who will explain the story that we read yesterday? And then we will link it with the next part. Yes, quickly raise your hands. Yes, Pushkar beta, will you start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
The black aeroplane, the second part in this, the pilot was the pilot was in the aeroplane, and um, he was coming over from he was coming from a Dakota airplane over France, and he was going with his passengers to England, and they, there was such problem in there was such a problem in the.
What was he dreaming while going? What was his desire or his dream when he was flying over France back to England? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There was such problem in the aeroplane, and he take help from the Paris control, and the voice from the radio answered.
No. In the beginning, it was everything okay. In the beginning, everything was okay. What was the condition in the beginning? What was he dreaming? What was his desire when he was moving forward in his Dakota aeroplane over France to England? Yes, Preet Kaur, beta. Preet Kaur, please continue.
He was dreaming of his holiday. He was his desire was to be with his family, because
Yes.
he was going because he was going to a holiday and spend time with his family. Firstly, everything was going
What
okay.
was the
He was
time? What was the
flying
time at that
over
time? When you looked at the watch,
one
what was the
thirty,
time?
1:30 in the morning.
Yes, it was 1:30. Yes.
He was flying from France to England. Uh, Firstly, everything was going okay, but then suddenly, black clouds emerged. Black clouds emerged in front of the plane, and the aeroplane got stuck in those black clouds. He couldn't see anything. His radio was dead. His compass was also dead, and everything was dead. Uh, he couldn't connect to the Paris control.
When what was the distance when there was suddenly storm clouds? Paris was about what distance at that time?
150 kilometer.
Yes, Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him when he saw the clouds. That means he started from Paris and he had covered 150 kilometers when suddenly the storm started. The clouds were there in the sky. Yes, now I want Divya Beta, which simile is used
Yes,
to
ma'am.
explain about the clouds? Which line is given?
They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in
Yes.
front of me across the
Yes. What
sky.
is called as black mountains? What is referred to? Black
Ma'am,
mountains?
ma'am, stormy clouds.
Stormy clouds. Very good.
Stormy clouds.
And what happened after that? There was any other problem
Uh,
along with the clouds
uh,
or the storm? Any other problem he was facing?
Ma'am, his all the devices were dead. Radio and the compass were dead, so he was not able
Anything
to see
else
anything
along
and
with the
was not
devices?
able
Any other?
to go.
Yes. Any other problem along with the devices? Yes. Mahak Meet,
Uh,
beta. Mahak Meet. Which other
Yes,
problem
ma'am.
was he facing?
Ma'am, he didn't have enough fuel to fly.
Yes, very good. He did not have enough fuel to fly around to other directions. So he wanted to move towards his own destination only. And he did not want to go back also because he had a strong desire to go to his home and have breakfast with his family. So he thought to take a risk and he flew his old Dakota straight into the storm. Clear? Then after that, when he was in the clouds, what happened? Who will continue, please? Yes. Devishi Beta, yes. Devishi Beta, please continue.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, when he was in the black clouds, he suddenly noticed that there was another aeroplane, but there were no lights on its wings. He noticed that the pilot of that airplane waved his hand and he signaled the pilot to follow him. The pilot blindly followed the other pilot because all the system was dead. Soon he passed through the dark clouds and he launched safely at the airport. Upon landing, when he inquired at the reception, he got to know that there was no other airplane on the route except his plane.
This,
The
sorry,
plane.
Beta, this part we have not read. I just told you in the summary part, this. So we have finished up to this. That when he was trying to connect the Paris control room, he was not able to, did not get any answer. His radio was dead. He had no radio, no compass, and he could not see anything, and he was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds quite near him, he saw another aeroplane which had no lights, no wing on its wings, but he could see it flying next to him through the storm, and he could see the pilot's face turn towards him. He felt like this, the pilot जो था उस aeroplane का वो उसकी तरफ देख रहा था, and he was very glad to see another person in this situation because he was in risky, dangerous situation. And he lifted one hand and waved. उसको क्या feel हुआ कि जो दूसरा pilot था वो उसकी तरफ देख रहा था और he was waving his hand and was saying, क्या लग रहा था उसको, क्या कह रहा था? Follow me. He was saying, follow me. उसको ऐसे लगा कि उसने हाथ से इशारा करके अपना फेस उसकी तरफ करके देखते हुए उसको क्या कहा कि वो उसको फॉलो करे. He knows that I'm lost. I thought he is trying to help me. And he understood कि उसने क्या सोचा होगा कि he knows that I'm lost, कि मैं खो गया हूँ, or he's trying to help me, that's why he's trying to help me and saying to follow him. So इस तरीके से उसको क्या लगा कि वो पायलट समझ गया है कि वो डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में है and he wants to help him. Beta, all of you are requested to please listen the things carefully, because yesterday when I had the video calling, many of the students were not able to tell which chapter is going on, what we read. Even they were not able to tell the name of the chapter. You should be very careful what chapter we are doing and what we read today in the class. If you are attending the class, you should be sincere enough and understanding everything. If there is any doubt, I asked you in the beginning, and at the end also, you can raise your hand and ask your problems and the questions. But you should be very sincere and concentrating in the class when you are attending it. If you are not attending, then it is different thing. But if you are in the class, you must be attentive and listening the things carefully and very alert that which chapter is going on and what the story is of that chapter. Only then you will be able to answer the questions. Clear? This is my humble request to all of you. Please be sincere now, because nobody knows till when this situation will go on. So you have to be sincere. All the marks are counted. Every type of marks are counted. This interaction session will also be counted for your subject enrichment. If you are not answering, you will be the loser. So be attentive and listen the things carefully. Okay. Yes, he turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota. See his feelings. उसको क्या लगा कि एक पायलट एक एरोप्लेन उसके पास से क्रॉस करा जिसकी लाइट्स नहीं जल रही थी, लेकिन उसके पायलट ने उसकी तरफ बाहर देखा, उसको हाथ हिलाकर इशारा किया फॉलो करने के लिए, और उसको लग रहा था कि वो समझ गया था that he was in danger, in problem, he had lost his way, so he was trying to help him. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota. कि उसने मेरे एरोप्लेन Dakota एरोप्लेन के फ्रंट में उसने अपना एरोप्लेन जो था वो slowly north की तरफ टर्न करा so that it would be easier for me to follow him, ताकि मैं उसको अच्छे से follow कर पाऊँ. He slowed down his speed. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. Underline again, simile is used. Or did he follow him? He was very happy to go behind that strange aeroplane. उस aeroplane के पीछे जिसको कि pilot वो नहीं जानता था, aeroplane के बारे में नहीं उसको पता था, कोई lights नहीं जल रही थी, so he was not able to identify about that aeroplane and the pilot, and he felt that he was following that strange aeroplane like an obedient child. जैसे कि बहुत कोई आज्ञाकारी बच्चा होता है कहना मानने वाला, कि उसने बोला follow करो और इसने उसको follow करना शुरू कर दिया. So here again simile is used. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. तो उसने क्या नोट करा कि even after half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of him. अभी भी वो उसको follow कर रहा था. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 to 10 minutes more. Please underline how much fuel he was having. He was having only that much fuel which can fly, which can help him to fly for 5 to 10 minutes more only. I was starting to feel frightened again. So he once again he became afraid. He was frightened, got nervous, what to do if he had the shortage of this fuel. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. तभी उसको लगा कि जो उसके फ्रंट में जो एरोप्लेन था उसने नीचे की तरफ जाना शुरू कर दिया. That means लैंडिंग की तरफ जा रहा है. And he also followed the storm. And suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw two long straight lines of lights in front of me. और अचानक क्या नोट किया उसने कि वो क्लाउड से बाहर था और दो सीधी लाइंस लाइट की उसको अपने सामने नजर आ रही थी. Two long straight lines of lights in front of me. He saw two lines of light. It was a runway, an airport. उसने क्या फील करा that he had landed safely, he had reached to the airport. I was safe. See all the sign of exclamation that shows his wonder and surprise and full of happiness. वो हैरान भी था और खुश भी था that he had landed the airport and he was very safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane. Then he tried to turn back to look for that aeroplane which had guided him, which had led him to this way, and he wanted to turn to his friend pilot of that aeroplane, but the sky was empty. But he noticed that there was no aeroplane. It was empty sky. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. कोई black aeroplane उसको नजर नहीं आ रहा था. And there was nothing. He could not see anything here. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota. Near the control tower, I went and asked a woman. See, understand the meaning of this line. It's given a question also that he landed, but he was not sorry to walk away from old Dakota near the control tower. He was not feeling sad or sorry because he was not able to find that aeroplane. He went near the control room because he was having desire to meet his family and take good breakfast, English breakfast there. So he was very much excited that he did not feel sorry, though he wanted to turn back to see that pilot and wanted to thank him, but he was not sad that he could not see that pilot. Still, he went to the control tower just to inquire about that aeroplane and the pilot. And I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was, just to know about his situation and about the other pilot and the aeroplane. He went to the control room. I wanted to say thank you because he wanted to thank that pilot who had guided him. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. But when he went there, the lady sitting at the control room looked at him in a very strange manner and she started laughing. That another aeroplane up there in the storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. Radar is the device on which they can see the system on which they can see that which aeroplane is flying. It is a device that sends out radio waves for finding out the position and speed of an aeroplane. एक एरोप्लेन स्काई में उड़ रहा है तो उसकी पोजीशन और स्पीड को देखने के लिए थ्रू द रेडियो वेव्स they can judge. The person sitting in the control room can judge through this device. So what she said, that there was no other aeroplane flying on that night, and his was the only one what she had seen on the radar. She could see only one aeroplane that was flying on. There was no other aeroplane. She answered this. There is no other aeroplane. So, who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? He was very much surprised. All these questions were coming in his mind, that if there was no aeroplane, if there was no pilot, who guided him? Who helped him to arrive there on the airport safely without any device, without the help of a compass, radio, without more fuel? He was not having all these things. Even then, he reached there safely. So he was very much surprised and wondered who was the pilot of the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights. When he was very much surprised and was thinking in his mind that who was that pilot on the strange black aeroplane who guided him, and the aeroplane that was flying in the storm without lights. Whose aeroplane was that? What was that? Who was the pilot? How he reached safely there without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in his tank? All these were the questions that were rising in his mind, and he was surprised and wondered that he had reached safely, but he was not able to see that aeroplane and the pilot. So what do you think? What idea comes in your mind? What should have been this? क्या हो सकता है? उसको तो लगा कि वहां पर कोई एरोप्लेन था, ब्लैक एरोप्लेन था, उसमें पायलट था, who waved his hand also, looked at his face also and guided him. And what could be? Yes, Lavanya beta, you are raising hand. Very good. What is your opinion? What could have been that?
Ma'am, it might be his own self that and his courage that overcame his fear of flying through the stormy clouds, and he might be it was actually his desire, his strong desire and courage to land, which overcame all his fears of flying.
Yes, this may be one reason, his determination, his courage to meet his family, to spend his holidays with his family and have good breakfast, his strong desire to come to his family, that might have given him courage and you can say inspiration and motivated him, and he might have overcome his fear. Any other opinion that comes in your mind? Yes, Archana beta, you want to say anything?
Ma'am, the other black aeroplane which helped the pilot to fly through the storm was maybe an imaginary character which he himself built in his mind so that he could easily get out the difficult storm and create his own way to fly through it.
Yes, it may be. It is again, we can say, his strong will and desire, his courage that has created a strong character in his mind, his imagination, his hallucination, you can say. उसके माइंड में ही कोई ऐसी वर्किंग चल रही थी जिसने कि ये इमेजिनेशन उसके माइंड में क्रिएट कर दी कि एक एरोप्लेन जा रहा है, उसमें पायलट है और उसको हैंड रेज करके फॉलो करने के लिए कर रहा है, वेव कर रहा है हैंड कि ही शुड फॉलो him, and just to motivate and encourage him that he should not be afraid of and he should move on to his destination, अपने रास्ते पर चलता रहे. And there is one more, we can say, the human psychology. We people can understand and add this point also with this critical question, if we get like this, what is your opinion about that, that we human beings have faith in God. Whenever we are in difficult situation, we always remember God. अच्छी सिचुएशन में हम भूल जाते हैं, डेली हम भगवान को नहीं याद करते हैं, कोई पाठ पूजा नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन जब हम डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में होता है, आप खुद सोचो कई बार जब आप प्रॉब्लम में होते हो, आप एग्जाम देने जा रहे हो या आप कहीं डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में फंस जाते हो, तो इमीडिएटली अपने आप ही ऑटोमेटिकली आपके मन में भगवान का नाम आना शुरू हो जाता है। आप किसी भी भगवान को मानते हो, आप अपने मुंह में बोलना शुरू कर देते हो राम 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 राम, या जय माता दी या वाहे गुरु सतगुरु, कुछ भी आप अपने अकॉर्डिंगली जिस भी भगवान को आप मानते हो तो आप अपने आप उसको याद करना शुरू कर देते हो, होता है ना ऐसा व्हेन वी आर इन द डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन। सो व्हाट इज सेड दैट व्हेन ऑल अदर डोर्स क्लोज, द डोर विद इन अस शोज अस द राइट पाथ। कि भगवान जो है वो खुद तो आ नहीं सकता, लेकिन किसी ना किसी स्ट्रेंजर को, किसी ना किसी पर्सन को, अपने मैसेंजर को वो भेज देता है हमें रास्ता दिखाने के लिए। और हमारी जो स्पिरिचुअल पावर होती है, हमारी जो कॉन्शियस होती है, वो हमें ऑटोमेटिकली लीड करना शुरू कर देती है। कहते जब सारे रास्ते बंद हो जाते हैं, आप इतनी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में, आपको कोई रास्ता नजर नहीं आ रहा, यू आर नॉट गेटिंग एनी वे आउट, कोई सोल्यूशन नजर नहीं आ रहा, तो व्हाट हैपेंस एट दैट टाइम? ऑल द डोर्स आर क्लोज्ड, देन द डोर विद इन अस, हमारे अंदर एक दरवाजा है जो हमें स्पिरिचुअल पावर देता है, जो हमें करेज देता है, सोचने की शक्ति देता है जब हम डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में होते हैं। एंड दैट शोज अस द right way, right path, and it might be that door that has opened in his mind, his spiritual power, his courage, that made him bold and imagine like that, maybe like that. Nothing is given and we are not sure about anything. It is all our imagination and our thinking and viewpoint, you can say. Okay, you can write any viewpoint, but your point should be justified with the idea or the explanation. जो भी आप point दो, yes में हो सकता है, no में हो सकता है, आप अपने ideas दे सकते हो, अपना outlook दे सकते हो, अपना perspective दे सकते हो कि आपके mind में क्या idea आया according to this, but it should be justified. उसको आपने reasonable way में justify जरूर करना है. Okay. Yes, any problem to anyone you can ask, otherwise we are moving towards questions because we still have 10 minutes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, why is the second aeroplane called the black aeroplane? Like, was it the color black or it was without any lights, so it is called black?
Beta, nothing is mentioned about the color in the chapter. Again and again we are given reference of the black aeroplane. It might be again the same reason, maybe due to the lights, there was no light, maybe due to the storm and the clouds which were black, dark and black clouds were there. Due to that, the name is given to that aeroplane as the black aeroplane. Okay, any reason can be there, but nowhere in the chapter the mention about the color is there. Here, can give any reason out of these two, or mention both, that it may be due to the dark clouds or due to the missing of the lights, because there were no lights on the aeroplane which he imagined. Yeah. Yes, coming to the questions, any other problem to anyone? You can raise your hand. No problem. Let's discuss the questions then. Question number 1. Yes, quickly raise your hands. Yes. I want the new students should come forward, those who have not given answer today. Yes, Sushant, beta. Sushant.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Pranay
I
Chatta,
will.
Sumit, all get
Yes,
ready,
ma'am.
please.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
all of you
I
get
will
ready.
take.
Yes, beta. Sushant.
I will take the risk. What is the risk? Why does the narrator take it? The risk was taken by the narrator of going to England from Paris by aeroplane. Even he had not enough fuel to fly around them, and another risk was that he flew his aeroplane from the black clouds, and he take this risk because he wanted to go to his home and uh, enjoy the breakfast with his family.
Yes, very good. Uh, what is the risk, Stormy and dark storms and the clouds were there. So it was a risk for him to move forward. But he continued taking the courage and moved forward. He took this risk because he wanted to enjoy his holidays with his family and had breakfast with his family in England.
You are muted.
Yes, beta. Yes, Pranay, beta. Next question.
Yes, ma'am. Describe the narrator's experience as he flew the aeroplane in the storm. While flying aeroplane in the storm, narrator was very hesitating, but he gained all his courage and flew towards England as he wanted to meet his family and wanted to have a good breakfast.
He wanted to turn back also because he checked the map and the compass, switched on to his second fuel and found that his old Dakota had turned 12 degrees west towards England, and he thought that if he turned back, that would not be good. He should move forward to have good breakfast with his family. So he was hesitating, having fear in his mind, but had the courage to move in the storm. Next question. Yes. Riddhi. Yes, Riddhi, beta. Next question.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Continue with the question. Beta. Question number 3.
Why does the narrator say I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota? The
Yes.
answer is the narrator say I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota because when he landed at the airport he wanted to thank the black airplane and the pilot friend, but the sky was clear. There was not even a single airplane in the sky, but he was happy as he wanted to meet his family and reach his home.
Yes, he was not sad that he could not meet that pilot of that strange aeroplane. He was happy with this idea that he had landed safely. So he was not sorry to walk away from the old record. Or he wanted to thank that pilot. He inquired from the control room, but he was not sorry for that. Yes, next question. Preet Kaur. Rest of the students, beta,
Ma'am,
you also come forward, raise your hands, participate in the discussion. Yes, Preet Kaur, beta.
What made the woman in the control center look at the narrator strangely? The woman in the control center looked at the narrator strangely because when he asked the woman in the control center about the another aeroplane and his pilot, she looked at the narrator very strangely because she could see only the narrator's aeroplane in the radar, and there was no another aeroplane flying in the sky.
Yes. The woman in the control center looked at the narrator in a very strange manner because there was
Ma'am, you are muted.
You are mute.
Okay. Yes, Rick Bajaj, last question.
Who do you think helped the narrator to reach safely? Discuss this among yourselves and give reasons for your answer. Uh, I think that the strong desire of uh, the pilot to reach England and meet his family and to have a good breakfast helped him to create an imaginary strong character in his mind uh, uh, that uh, uh, hallucinated him to believe that there was another aeroplane in the storms, and this strong willpower inside and determination to reach home safely motivated him to follow the plane and to follow to build an imaginary
Yes.
character and follow him to reach
Yes, it is almost.
Dakota.
Yes, Peter, very good. The same answer that we discussed at the ending of the chapter. Before starting the questions, we discussed that when all doors are closed, the door within us opens. That means God motivated us
Ma'am,
and gives us that courage to uh, get inspiration and find some way. We are automatically driven to some way out for that problem and we get some solution. And it is maybe some messenger is sent by God or some inner power motivates us to move forward and reach to our destination. Yes, Beta, what do you want to say? Yes, Vedi Beta, you want to say anything?
मैम ये क्वेश्चन हमने नोटबुक पे करने हैं
Yes.
नोटबुक पे करने हैं
Beta, no, every time it is told that you are not to write the questions of the book back exercise in the notebook. You will write only the assignment which I will send. Okay. First part assignment is solved.
नहीं आ रही